This video is brought to you by the Gaming Dungeon. The PDD has partnered with the Gaming Dungeon in order to spread the content around to everyone in the Pokemon community. PDD coaches will be happy to know that the Gaming Dungeon offers many genning bots, such as this Toro bot that be playing with Arven's feelings. Links to both the PDD server and the Gaming Dungeon are in the description. Very special shout out to JD, aka Josh, for reaching out to me personally for this opportunity, and we're very excited here at the PDD to be partnered with such a very large community that the Gaming Dungeon has. Thank you very much, and enjoy the video. Yeah, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Eli the Rebel, and welcome to the PDD. That's right. If you haven't seen, if you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, click the icon on the top right corner. I made a hype trailer to, get the hype train going for this league, man, because KJ's right. We're building something special here. For real. I'm really, truly honored and blessed to be a part of this. There were applications and some people did not make it, but fortunately I did. And there are 13 other coaches with me that are going to be uploading their battles. That's right, this is an upload required league, so everybody's channel is in the description. You sub to them, I'll sub to you. Honestly, that sounds like a fair trade to me. No drink. We are the coach of the Abominable Darmanitans because everybody else's logo was so gas. I needed to get on that train as well. I needed to keep up with these young bulls, you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm a young bull myself. I ain't gonna hold you. The goal of this generation is to not only be better from Gen 8, but also to be able to participate in major leagues like size, like PPL scale type of leagues, right? And I think the PDD is going to allow not only myself, but the 13 other guys to get to that level of competition one day down the road. So this is a stepping stone for me and for pretty much the rest of the roster here to really make a name for ourselves in the draft league community. So, as Drew Carey once said, the points don't matter. Wins and losses do not matter as long as we're having fun and making fire content for everybody, man. It's gonna be a grand old time, man, for real. At least for me, at least for me. I'm going to be doing the draft analysis a bit different. It's not going to be a traditional, I'm gonna go pick by pick. I like how Aquarius, aka Addison, does her draft analysis, and Dr. Slacking does it this way too, where it's the whole team together, and then you talk about the team as a whole, and then you can talk about individual picks after that. So I'm just gonna be running my mouth for the next 20 minutes per se about the draft as a whole. I won't be going over rules like that, so you need to go click the link to the PDD document, which is in the description as well, above the coaches list. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, click that link and follow along on the rules tab, so that way you guys know what the heck is going on in this league. I'll try my best to explain things here and there, but if I don't explain it, the doc should explain it for you. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the roster for your Abominable Darmanitans in 3, 2, 1, bang! Yeah, there's a lot going on here. I'm not gonna hold you. I don't know, I'm just as confused as you guys are on how this all synergizes together, to be honest. I will say off rip, the most important mon on this team and the X factor on determining whether I will have actual league success or not is Zoroark Hisui. Wins and losses do not matter, but the way I use Zoroark Hisui is going to determine whether I actually win games or not. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm not the biggest Zoroark, I'm not the best Zoroark user. When I first started Draft League, and even when I started competitive Pokemon back in Generation 6, I used to disguise Zoroark and put the Mon that I want to disguise it as the second Mon. And then when something else goes on my screen, I'm screaming at my computer like, why? I did not ask you to be here. So I've read the ability like 50 times from the point I drafted this thing until now. So now I know that it's the 6th Mon that will disguise itself as Zoroark. It's the 6th. So when I go into team preview, whatever the Mon is for 6th, that's who Zoroark will be. Right? So Zoroark is also important because it's the fastest Mon on my team. That's another issue with this team in terms of lack of synergy. Zoroark is base 110, which means that I don't have anything faster than that. And the problem with not having things 111 or faster means that things like Dragapult and Iron Bundle may run Adamant or Modest on me, which suck. In a perfect world, I want those things. I want faster things than Zoroark Hisui, so that way I can make those threats run Timid or Jolly. But with this team, I can't do that. Unfortunately, I cannot do that. It's really, really sad. It is really, really sad. But regardless, that's not the only thing that's wrong with this team. Lack of synergy, lack of speed, and lack of hazard removal. Now, I have hazard setters. I have 3 different rockers to choose from: Landorus Eye, King Gambit, Dreadnought, right? To my knowledge, Toxicroak doesn't get T-Spikes, but if it somehow magically got them like Muck this generation, then I guess that's cool too. But my hazard removal consists of 1 Defogger in Decidueye and a Toxic Spikes Absorber in Toxicroak. If it was Natdex, I'd have Defog on Florges, Landorus, and Volcanion, but it's not. Paldea Dex meant a lot of things lost Defog, and a lot of things don't have knockoff. Like, a lot of things not having knockoff is good for Decidueye, but lack of Defog and lack of Rapid Spin meant that I had to pick up Decidueye. If I did not get Decidueye, I would be stuck with no hazard removal. Because I didn't get Decidueye until round 5. On the back end of round 5 going into round 6. So, which was funny because the person before I picked Decidueye picked Decidueye Hisui. So I was like, you know what? This is a perfect opportunity for me to go ahead and pick Decidueye now. Pick a Alola Decidueye now. It's not making back to you. So that's what I did. But now we can go ahead and go pick by pick. The Terra Captains, when I get to the Terra Captains, I will say their Terra types along with, there'll be a visual for that as well. I'm not sure if Editing Me did a good job with visuals on this. We'll see. So, I was 6th overall out of 14. I was pretty much smack dab in the middle of this draft, which I'm okay with. It's actually my favorite because I get to watch like what everyone else picks and then go from there. So, the first 5 that were taken before it got to me, it was Iron Valiant, Dragapult, Sneasler, Iron Bundle, Mew. That was the exact 5 that went before me. I thought about getting Cinderace. The pick after me was Annihilate, and then I was like, oh, Annihilate. I always forget this mon exists. I don't know why. But what made me pick Landorus Eye over something like Great Tusk was the fact that Sheer Force was legal in this. I was in a lot of Natdex leagues where Sheer Force was banned, and so it would be in the same point category as Volcanion because you could only run Sand Force. Now, Sand Force is still good, you just need to be in the sand for it to be usable. However, Sheer Force can be used inside or outside of sand. Now, when you combine Life Orb with it, and when you use them, as long as you're using moves that are Sheer Force boosted, like Earth Power, Sludge Bomb. I'm not sure if Sludge Wave is still around for this thing. I know Iron Moth gets Sludge Wave, but I don't know who else. But if it kept Sludge Wave, that would be even better. But the idea with Earth Power, for example, rather than getting the 10% boost in... not the 10% boost. Rather than getting the 10% chance to drop the Spadef, I'm taking that will no longer be a thing, as instead I'll be Sheer Force boosted 1.3 times. And then when I'm clicking Earth Power, for example, along with Life Orb, now I'm having two 1.3 boosts and without taking Life Orb recoil, right? That, to me, is insane wall breaking, in my opinion. So, I had to get it before it fell into the wrong person's hands. So, all my plans of, trying to get other things like Cinderace or Shifu Rapid again, like, and even getting Tusk again, like, those will be for another day at another time. Because Landorus I with Sheer Force, Life Orb plus Sheer Force equals who die, and that's the joke I always run in my servers to people. The 101 speed is good enough to break down, is fast enough to break down the fat stuff. Beautiful wall breaker at 101. It can't do the cleaning roll anymore with the loss of rock polish and also the loss of gravity as well. Super sucks for me, but I still think it's a fantastic wall breaker because it still kept Nasty Plot at the end of the day. And if I can Nasty Plot for free without any consequences, the game's over. The game's over. So yeah, Landorus is going to be so much fun for wall breaking and stuff like that. For cleaning, I went with two cleaners. I went like King Gambit is a better cleaner than Dreadnought. Dreadnought can be a breaker or a cleaner, but we'll get to Dreadnought when we get to Dreadnought. King Gambit though, right now it's being suspect tested on the OU ladder due to the combination of many different things. One of them being Terra, being able to Terra into like flying or fairy. But for the health of this league and for the sanity of team building per se, King Gambit cannot Terra. Terra was only limited to 9-point and below mons for a total of 15. So King Gambit was like 16 points. So it couldn't even Terra even in PDL world, where it was also 15 points, but it's 14 to 1. King Gambit is still very broken because of Supreme Overlord. So as long as King Gambit is still alive, it could still win me the game, as for every mon that dies on my side, I get 10% power boost to both physical and special attack. I'm just super glad that King Gambit does not have usable special attack, or that'd be super broken. So it's really just a 10% boost to physical attack for every teammate down. You combine it with Sword Stance and Sucker Punch, and you always have a chance to win. You always have a chance to clean up. Especially if King Gambit's the last mon standing, you're looking at a 50% boost in power. With Sword Stance, with Sucker Punch, with Black Glasses, it can clean up. It has stab in other. It also has stab Ironhead. It also has stab Katal Cleave, which is stronger than Night Slash, and has no accuracy drops. Because again, knockoff distribution, Bisharp lost knockoff, so therefore this does not have knockoff. So instead, it has Katal Cleave, which is super fine. I'll take that. It's not knock, but Katal Cleave is fine. Like I said, it also is a stealth rocker on the team, but it's also a T-Waver on the team for speed control. So I talked about, Zoroark being the fastest Mon. It will be super faster when Kingambit lands T-Waves. So that's, something to consider for me when trying to build Kingambit sets. So Landorus is the wall breaker of the team. Kingambit is the cleaner of the team. Kingambit is quad weak to fighting, which Landorus resists. Landorus is quad weak to ice, which Kingambit resists. However, the water resist on the team wasn't looking that great after those two, so I picked Dreadnought. Now you're probably thinking, there's so many better water resist than Dreadnought, why'd you take it round 3? And the reason I picked it round 3 was because, in my opinion, I think it's the best Terra Mon. Like, it's top 3 Terra Mon out of all the 9-pointers and below that can potentially Terra. Now, things like Regieleki, Oricorio, Venomoth, Satitan, those kinds of Pokemon could not Terra because the idea is either it's too broken with coverage or it can set up and then win, right? They forgot about Dreadnought when making this list because this thing gets Shell Smash now. So before, it used to rely on Rock Polish to sweep. Now it can Shell Smash, which is Rock Polish plus Weakness Policy in one. And with Terra, I can Terra out of the crappy rock typing that's holding back Dreadnought's potential. I can Terra out into a pure water type, so that way my water moves go absolutely nuts. It will be like Crawdon, to be honest with you. It'll be like Crawdon. I love me some Crawdon. Grass to get out of, because again, like, being water rock means you're quad weak to grass, so why not be a grass type yourself to not only resist the grass typing, but also beat bulky waters that want to come in on this thing. And then Terra Flying is the third Terra typing because I am resisting grass again, I'm resisting fighting, and I'm immune to ground, which would otherwise be detrimental to Dreadnought trying to sweep. So I had to pick it up. Again, it's another Mon like Landorus or Zoroark Kasui where I might not be great with this thing, but hey, I'm glad I have it, and instead of these other people. I don't trust these other people. Oh, trust issues. No Drake. Yeah. I talked about Zoroark Kasui a lot in the beginning, so I picked Zoroark Kasui round 4. Round 5, I picked up Decidueye for defog purposes. It's the only defogger on the team, which sucks, but I think it will be a valid defogger because the last time I picked up Decidueye Kasui was in a Natdex league, and because of the knockoff distribution is so big in Natdex, I was pretty much forced to run Culver the games that did show up. But with the lack of knockoff distribution, it can actually run things not named Culverberry, which is super dope for me. Decidueye is actually more versatile than you think. In addition to Defog and Roost, okay? So this thing can self-recover outside of Rest, and then everything else that wants to recover has to rely on Florida's Wish passing. Decidueye can also be offensive. It gets Swords Dance, it gets Nasty Plot, it gets Priority and Shadow Sneak. I've ran Leaf Storm and Jackpack before. As U-turn for momentum, for actual momentum. So, Decidueye can actually put in some work offensively. It doesn't have to be defog every single week. It can do a lot of different things, given the right matchup. So then after that, I went and got a bulkier water than Dreadnought in Volcanion. Volcanion is a bulky water that's immune to water attacks thanks to Water Absorb. I like this being the defensive water, not only because Dreadnought doesn't want to be a defensive water, but also it's the only water type that can burn. That's right. Scald is exclusive to Volcanion now, which I find hysterical because it also has Steam Eruption, which is stronger Scald with an accuracy drop. So I have two ways to burn opponents, which also kind of works well with the two ghosts I have going on right here. So I'm not the biggest fan of double ghosts. I love double water, but I'm not the biggest fan of double ghosts because I'm weak to faster ghosts that want to click Shadow Ball or Shadow Claw or even get picked off by Shadow Sneak. But what's unique about double core in this situation is Zoroark's normal typing. Normal makes it immune to Shadow Ball, Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak. And then the normal typing helps me be... I mean, not the normal typing. The ghost typing helps me be immune to close combat and other fighting type attacks. So I'm really only weak to Dark, which King Gambit can take care of, Florges can take care of, and even Toxicroak can take care of that, no problem. But anyways, back to Volcanion. It's gonna be the bulky water type of the team. Fire and water unfortunately get shut down by dragon types, which is why I went with a fairy type the next round, and it was Florges because Sylveon was taken when I didn't think about a fairy type, and I was like, oh, maybe Sylveon's around. Nope, it was taken like 2 rounds before. So I was like, crap. If I don't take Florges now, I'm going to be stuck with something like Darkspun. And Darkspun, I was not a big fan of Darkspun when I was using it in Paldea pre-home. So, I got Florges. I'm not going to Terra with this thing because I'm already Terraing Dreadnought. So, coverage on this thing is a lacking. I'm only getting Fairy type and Grass type coverage on this thing. Meaning I get walled by Steels and... Steels. Actually, I'm not walled by poisons because I have Psychic as a move. But I'm gonna get walled by Steels. But I have Landorus for that. Florges is fine as a Wish Passer. It can call Mind and set up once the Steel types are gone, which is cool. And hopefully, it's not super passive. Again, what enticed me the most was the super high Spadef stat on this thing. It's just my concern is that it might be too passive against steel types. So, but aside from that, Florges is a usable fairy. In some instances, it's usable than the other ones that were remaining, in my opinion. So I needed a Fizz Death Wall. I didn't want King Gambit to take on all the physical attacks. So I got myself a Gothorita. Now, you look at the spread here, it's not that great. However, Goth can hold a Violite. At 5 points, it can also Terra. So I'm going to Terra Psychic, Fighting, and Fairy. Now, most people that use Goth as a Terra, whether it be the actual Gothitelle or Baby Gothorita, at first, most people would run Psychic, Water, and Fairy for defensive purposes, but in my opinion, that's boring. So at first, I wanted to be Psychic, Fighting, and Electric. However, I was told that Fairy is too good to pass up as as a defensive typing. So I went with a hybrid of both. So fighting is here because Toxicroak is my main fighting type right now, and I wanted another fighting type and stab. And it also takes care of steels and dark types that want to sit in front of Gothorita. And then I went fairy type because I was told that it was better defensively. Although I was trying to make the argument that electric was better defensively because it's only weak to ground, and then I get stabbed thunderbolt. But fairy just helps me. It helps me again take on the dark types and things like that. But also takes on the dragons in case floor just becomes a little too passive. If I need to change into electric, I'd probably drop the fighting and change it to electric if need be. But for now, Gothorita is here for shadow tagging, trapping, calm minding, and sword powering, and terra blasting the next mon that wants to come in on this thing. Then I went Toxicroak because I needed a grounded poison type, and I also needed a fighting type for Florges and Gothorita to shine. So that's literally what Toxicroak is here for. It has poison touch, which is cool for physical sets. So when I was first starting competitive Pokemon, I would run like Swords Dance and Sucker Punch because I can just click Sucker Punch in front of the Psychic type, no problem. But then the Miami Heat Moors of the PDL, I don't know if you're still around, guy, but if you are, thank you so much for showing me this set. Despite the special attack being a little lower than the physical attack, it's still usable after one Nasty Plot, and it gets priority Vacuum Wave. That Vacuum Wave is a super unique move in this meta, as only Toxicroak and Lucario get access to Vacuum Wave. It is a special attacking Mach Punch fighting type, because again, like, SD Mach is for Breloom. Toxicroak doesn't get SD Mach, but Toxicroak gets Nasty Plot and Vacuum Wave. So I can pick things off. With Vacuum Wave certain weeks. That's also something to keep an eye out for. And lastly, it's another water immunity in addition to Volcanion thanks to Dry Skin. Because again, we don't talk about anticipation. What the hell is that? Then I went and got the one-pointer, and probably the best one-pointer in my opinion, Pikachu. Terra Pikachu is going to be electric, water, and fairy. I went with water because Stab Surf. It could have been grass, it could have been ice, but the thing with grass is like it's like Grass Knot is a niche thing, right? Like it's a niche thing, and it's based on weight too. So I don't know if the power is going to be 120 base power or 20 base power, depending on the target, right? I wanted to be Terra Normal instead of Fairy at first, thinking that this thing could E-Speed. However, Pikachu does not have E-Speed in this meta, and its normal attacks are only Fake Out and Quick Attack. So I went with Fairy because apparently this thing gets Draining Kiss. For Nasty Plot, Draining Kiss sets can be a thing for Pikachu. And with Pikachu's low HP stat, whenever I click Terra boosted Draining Kiss, I'm pretty much going back up to full. Pikachu's the best one-pointer in this thing because it has usable abilities in Static and Lightning Rod, and then it also has its own unique item which doubles attack and special attack as a Pikachu. So Pikachu is the best one-pointer. Enough said. Which means I had 11 points over for Haxorus. Actually, I was thinking about getting an electric type 11 pointer and then getting Fracture at 1. Pikachu was simply way better. And so I had to pick that up first before Haxorus, as if I had to wait on Pikachu and people started taking it, then I was screwed. Because I was already getting sniped off of Heatran and frickin' Electro Kanto of all things. So, I needed Pikachu. I needed you badly, bro. I needed you more than Ash needed you, for God's sakes. Miss me with that nonsense. Haxorus. At the very last round of the draft, what is it, 147 physical attack, 97 speed? Yeah, this thing is an absolute wrecking ball. It does not get Scale Shot anymore, so SD Scale Shot's no longer a thing, but SD Trailblaze is a thing, if I need the power that bad. But ultimately, I'll be using Dragon Dance since, you know, it's SD Scale Shot into one move, almost-ish. It has all the coverage it needs to beat its checks. Things that would check it are like Steel types. Haxorus can EQ or close combat those, no problem. For Fairy types, it can click Poison Jab and Iron Head. I don't know if it got Iron Tail, but if I'm feeling frisky, I could run Iron Tail. Who knows? What else? It actually gets priority in first impression. That's why I was thinking about Fracture as my one pointer, because it could be like a cheeky, like banded first impression mon. But Haxorus was still there, so therefore I'm gonna get the Big Daddy version instead. Right? It just made more sense that way. It's a beautiful 97 is a great speed tier to be a Scarfer. Just like Lando I or Zoe or Kasui or even Decidueye for that matter. I don't really need first impression like that, but it's a thing. Yeah, Haxorus. And lastly, Haxorus has two very good abilities. I don't know if I'll be running Rivalry like that. I don't know. However, Unnerve is super, super good in draft. Because Unnerve makes you, so the thing with draft back in the day, like running things like resist berries used to be called heat, but now they're like common items in draft to 1v1 certain things. Unnerve stops all that. You can't eat your berries, so Haxorus can go full power on all those coverage moves I just mentioned. The Earthquakes, the Close Combats, the Poison Jabs, the Iron Heads. If I'm running Unnerve. It also has Mold Breaker, which is super dope. Meaning that, like, if Rotom wants to switch in on this thing, I can just EQ it super effectively the next turn. Thanks to Mold Breaker, ignoring Levitate. So, with that, that's the whole draft, man. Next, uploads will be every Sunday. So, without further ado, right, I bid you adieu. Does that sound right? Man, I'll figure out an outro. I'm usually good with intros instead of outros, but, I'll see you guys next week for week 1, man, on Sunday. It's me, Boy Leather Rebel. Peace!